Welcome back to our channel Rare Coins, all world coin collectors and enthusiasts. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of one of the most iconic coins in US history, the 1944 Lincoln penny. A coin that's been part of American currency for over a century, yet still holds tremendous value today. If you're a coin collector or just someone with a keen interest in valuable coins, you'll want to stick around for this one because the 1944 Lincoln penny could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Let's start with the basics. The 1944 Lincoln penny is part of the iconic series of pennies that have featured Abraham Lincoln since 1909. On the obverse, or front side of the coin, you'll find the portrait of Lincoln, one of the most respected figures in American history. This design was created by sculptor Victor David Brenner, and it's been a symbol of American legacy ever since. The reverse side of the 1944 Lincoln penny features a simple yet elegant design, a pair of wheat stalks framing the words, 1 cent. This wheat design was used from 1909 to 1958, giving this penny a unique spot in U.S. coinage history. But while the 1944 Lincoln penny may look like just another common coin at first glance, there's much more to it than meets the eye. What makes this penny so valuable isn't just its historical significance but also a rare error that occurred during the minting process. This error makes some 1944 pennies far more valuable than others, and if you happen to come across one of these rare specimens, you could be holding on to a small fortune. Now, let's talk about what makes the 1944 Lincoln penny truly special. In 1944, the U.S. Mint was facing a shortage of copper due to the ongoing efforts in World War II. As a result, a decision was made to mint some pennies using steel instead of copper, a shift that was meant to conserve copper for military use. These steel pennies are extremely rare, and their value is significantly higher than the typical copper pennies. However, here's where things get even more interesting. While most of the 1944 Lincoln pennies were minted in copper, some were mistakenly struck using leftover steel planchets, which were intended for the previous year's coinage. The result? A small number of 1944 Lincoln pennies that are made from steel, not copper. These steel pennies are incredibly rare and can fetch a premium price from collectors, especially in good condition. So, how can you tell if your 1944 Lincoln penny is one of these rare steel versions? First, examine the color of the coin. Copper pennies have a reddish-brown hue, while steel pennies have a distinct silver-gray color. The steel penny is easy to spot if you know what to look for, and it stands out against the copper pennies of the same year. Additionally, the steel pennies tend to have a slightly different weight, as steel is lighter than copper. A steel 1944 penny will feel lighter in your hand compared to a regular copper penny of the same year. If you notice these color or weight differences, it could mean you have a rare 1944 steel penny in your possession. Now, let's talk about how much this penny is worth. While most 1944 Lincoln pennies are worth only 1 cent, a steel 1944 penny can be worth much more. In fact, a steel 1944 Lincoln penny can be worth as much as $45,000. That's right, a simple penny, which usually has very little value, could potentially be worth tens of thousands of dollars if it's one of the rare steel versions. The value of a 1944 steel penny depends on several factors, including its condition. Coins that are in excellent condition, with minimal wear and no signs of corrosion or damage, are worth the most. Coins that are in lower grade condition, such as those with heavy wear or discoloration, are worth less but can still command a decent price due to their rarity. Additionally, the rarity of the steel 1944 Lincoln penny is a major factor in its value. Out of the millions of pennies minted that year, only a small handful were struck with steel planchets. This makes the steel 1944 penny incredibly rare and highly sought after by collectors, which drives up its value even further. If you happen to find one of these steel pennies, you could be looking at a coin that's worth a small fortune. So, how do you spot a valuable 1944 Lincoln penny? First and foremost, check the color. If the penny looks silver or gray instead of the usual copper hue, it could be one of the rare steel versions. Next, examine the weight. If it feels lighter than a typical penny, it might be made of steel. You should also inspect the coin for any signs of wear or damage that could affect its value. If the coin is in mint or near mint condition, it will be worth far more than a heavily worn penny. If you're lucky enough to find a 1944 steel penny in your collection, or if you happen to come across one in your pocket change, you could be holding onto a piece of history that's worth far more than its face value. Remember, the 1944 steel Lincoln penny is a rare and valuable coin that could potentially be worth $45,000, depending on its condition and rarity. Before we wrap up, I want to know, have you ever found a 1944 penny, or perhaps even one of these rare steel versions? What's the most valuable coin you've come across in your collection? Drop your stories in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. Today's video is going to be an exciting one. We're diving into a coin that might just be hiding in your collection or even in your change jar right now, the 1957 Lincoln penny. You've probably seen a ton of these pennies in your life, but did you know that the 1957 Lincoln penny could be worth far more than just 1 cent? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you might just look at your pennies in a whole new light. The 1957 Lincoln penny is part of a long-standing series that has featured President Abraham Lincoln's image on the obverse, or front, of the coin since 1909. On this side, you'll find the iconic portrait of Lincoln, created by the artist Victor David Brenner. This design has stood the test of time, becoming one of the most recognizable images in U.S. coinage history. Over the years, this simple yet powerful design has continued to be one of the most beloved and widely circulated images on American currency. On the reverse side, we see the wheat ears design, featuring 2 stalks of wheat that frame the words, 1 cent. This reverse design was used from 1909 to 1958, making the 1957 penny the last in the series before the switch to the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. The wheat design represents agriculture and the hardworking spirit of the American people. But while this penny may seem like any other from its era, it carries some interesting value and stories. Now, let's talk about what makes the 1957 Lincoln penny so interesting and valuable. Most people think of pennies as being small change, something that doesn't have much worth. After all, it's just a copper-plated coin, right? But here's the twist. The 1957 Lincoln penny is one of those coins that has the potential to be far more valuable than its face value. So, what's the catch? The value of the 1957 Lincoln penny can vary based on a few different factors. One of the key elements that can increase its value is its condition. Just like with any collectible, the better the condition, the higher the price. If you have a 1957 penny that has barely been touched, with sharp details, clear lettering, and no wear or discoloration, it could be worth a pretty penny, pun intended. But what makes this coin even more interesting is the potential for rare varieties and errors. One of the biggest factors that can elevate the value of the 1957 Lincoln penny is the presence of errors. Minting errors are the mistakes that occur during the production of a coin, and believe it or not, these mistakes can make a coin significantly more valuable to collectors. Let's talk about a few of the errors to keep an eye out for when checking your 1957 pennies. First, there's the famous double die error. This occurs when a coin is struck twice by the same die, causing the details to appear doubled. For the 1957 penny, this doubling often shows up in the words, "Liberty, in God we trust," or even the date itself. If you look closely and see some of these letters or numbers appear double, you could be looking at a valuable error coin. The more pronounced the doubling, the more valuable the coin. Next, there's the repunched mint mark error. This happens when the mint mark, which indicates where the coin was struck, is stamped more than once. On some 1957 pennies, especially those minted at the Philadelphia Mint, you might notice a mint mark that's been struck over itself, causing a faint second imprint. These repunched mint mark coins are much rarer than the typical 1957 penny, making them highly desirable to collectors. If you happen to find one of these, you could have a rare and valuable coin in your hands. Another rare error to watch for is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin isn't properly aligned during the minting process, causing part of the design to be cut off or shifted. If you notice that your 1957 penny has an off-center design, you could be holding onto an error coin that is worth more than just a few cents. So, how can you tell if your 1957 penny is valuable? First, check the condition. Coins that are in pristine, uncirculated condition will always be worth more than those that have seen a lot of wear. A well-preserved 1957 penny with sharp details and little to no discoloration will attract higher bids at auctions or from collectors. Next, look for any signs of minting errors. Examine the coin closely, using a magnifying glass or a loupe, especially around the areas where doubling might appear, like the date or the lettering. Don't forget to check the mint mark for any signs of repunching, as this could indicate a rare error. Finally, check for any signs of an off-center strike. If you notice that part of the design is missing or misaligned, that could be another indicator that you found a rare and valuable penny. But why is the 1957 Lincoln penny so valuable to collectors? It's all about rarity and demand. While millions of 1957 pennies were minted, those with errors are much rarer and much harder to find. Collectors are always on the lookout for these types of coins, and as time goes on, the demand for rare, error-free, or high-grade 1957 pennies only increases. If you're able to find one with an error or in uncirculated condition, you could be sitting on a small fortune. So, what's the potential value of a 1957 Lincoln penny? Well, it all depends on the coin's condition and any errors it may have. A well-preserved 1957 Lincoln penny in excellent condition, especially if it features a minting error like doubling, repunched mint marks, or an off-center strike, could be worth up to $49,000. That's right, $49,000 for a penny. It's a reminder that sometimes, the smallest things can hold the greatest value. Before we wrap things up, I want to hear from you. Have you ever come across a 1957 penny with a minting error? Or perhaps you found a penny in perfect condition that turned out to be valuable? Share your stories with us in the comments below. I'd love to hear about your experiences and discoveries. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of one of the most iconic coins in U.S. history, the 1953 Lincoln penny. Now, don't be fooled, this isn't just any ordinary penny. What seems like a simple piece of copper could be worth far more than you think. In fact, this coin has the potential to be a game-changer for your collection, and by the end of this video, you might just look at those pennies in your jar a whole lot differently. The 1953 Lincoln penny, part of the iconic series that's featured Abraham Lincoln since 1909, carries a lot more history than you might expect. On the front of the coin, you'll find the classic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner. It's an image that has become synonymous with American heritage, a portrait that's instantly recognizable and carries with it centuries of significance. The reverse side features the wheat design, a pair of wheat stalks that frame the words, 1 cent. This design has graced the back of the penny since 1909 and was used until 1958, making the 1953 penny one of the last coins in the series to carry this iconic imagery. But while the 1953 Lincoln penny might seem like a humble coin, there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. What makes the 1953 penny stand out, and why could it be worth far more than just a cent? Let's take a closer look at what could make your 1953 penny one of the most valuable coins in your collection. First, it's essential to understand that the value of a 1953 Lincoln penny goes beyond just the year it was minted. While the majority of these coins are worth only a few cents, there are rare variations and conditions that can dramatically increase the value. Much like any other collectible, the key to finding value in a coin lies in its rarity and condition, and the 1953 penny is no exception. The most significant factor that can increase the value of a 1953 penny is its condition. When a penny is freshly minted and kept in pristine condition, it's worth significantly more than a penny that's been circulated heavily and shows signs of wear. If you're lucky enough to find a 1953 penny in uncirculated or near mint condition, you could be holding onto a coin worth far more than its face value. But what about those rare pennies that have something a little extra? Let's talk about errors. Minting errors are a major reason why certain coins are worth far more than others. During the production process, mistakes happen. These mistakes can create unique and rare variations of coins, and these error coins are highly sought after by collectors. For the 1953 Lincoln penny, there are a few key errors you'll want to look for. One of the most valuable errors to look for in a 1953 penny is the double die variety. This occurs when a coin is struck more than once, causing the details to appear doubled. If you carefully examine your penny and notice that the date, lettering, or even parts of Lincoln's portrait appear doubled, you might have a double die error. This is a rare mistake, and error coins like this can command a high price due to their scarcity and uniqueness. Another error to keep an eye out for is the repunched mint mark. This occurs when the mint mark, indicating where the coin was minted, was struck more than once, causing a faint second imprint. The 1953 penny, particularly those minted in Philadelphia, is known to have some of these repunched mint mark errors. If you find one of these coins in your collection, you could be looking at a rare and valuable penny, as repunched mint mark coins are often highly sought after by collectors. Aside from errors, another factor that can make your 1953 penny valuable is its overall rarity. While millions of pennies were minted in 1953, not all of them were made in the same way. If your penny is in excellent condition, free from corrosion, wear, and discoloration, it could fetch a premium price, even if it doesn't have a minting error. Coins that are well preserved are rare in themselves, as most pennies from this era have been in circulation for decades and show significant signs of wear. So, how can you tell if you have a valuable 1953 penny? It's all about paying attention to the details. First, check the overall condition of the coin. If it looks like it's never been in circulation or shows minimal wear, that's a good sign it might be worth more. Next, take a close look at the date and the lettering. Look for any signs of doubling, particularly on the "Liberty" or "In God We Trust" inscriptions. Don't forget to check the mint mark for any repunching, as this could indicate a rare error. Finally, examine the coin for any signs of discoloration or corrosion, as these factors can significantly impact the value. The reason why the 1953 Lincoln penny is so valuable, especially the error varieties, is simple: rarity. While it may not seem like much at first, a coin that's in mint condition, features a rare error, or is part of a unique production process is highly prized by collectors. Coins that are in excellent condition or feature these errors are much harder to come by, making them more desirable and valuable in the coin market. So, let's talk numbers. While the typical 1953 Lincoln penny is worth just 1 cent, a coin in excellent condition can be worth much more. A rare double die 1953 penny, for instance, could be worth thousands of dollars. But it gets even better. If you're fortunate enough to find a 1953 Lincoln penny in exceptional condition or with a significant minting error, you could be looking at a coin that's worth as much as $44,000. That's right, $44,000 for a single penny. Before we wrap up, I want to hear from you. Have you ever come across a 1953 penny in your collection? Maybe you found one with an error or in incredible condition. Let me know in the comments below. I love hearing about your coin hunting adventures. And if you found one of these valuable coins, let's chat about it. Today, we have something truly special to talk about: the 1945 Lincoln penny. You might have hundreds of these in your change jar or collection, but did you know that one of these pennies could be worth far more than you'd ever expect? Stick around, because you're about to find out why the 1945 Lincoln penny is one coin that could make a huge impact on your collection. First off, let's take a quick look at the background of the 1945 Lincoln penny. This coin is part of the iconic series that began in 1909, when the U.S. Mint first decided to honor President Abraham Lincoln on the penny. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the image of Lincoln has become one of the most recognizable faces in U.S. coinage history. Over the years, this coin has seen many changes, but the 1945 penny still carries the same powerful imagery of Lincoln's portrait on the obverse, with his stern gaze facing left. On the reverse side, the 1945 Lincoln penny features the famous wheat ears design, which was used on pennies from 1909 to 1958. Two stalks of wheat frame the words, 1 cent, symbolizing the agricultural roots of the country and the hard-working spirit of the American people. The wheat design was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial in 1959, making the 1945 penny one of the last to feature this iconic imagery. But what really makes the 1945 Lincoln penny stand out from the rest of the pennies minted around that time? Why should you, as a collector, care about this specific year? Well, the value of the 1945 penny is tied to a combination of factors, including rarity, condition, and the potential for errors. And believe it or not, this simple penny could be worth far more than just 1 cent, especially if it has the right features. Let's start by talking about the condition of the coin. As with any collectible, the condition plays a major role in determining its value. A 1945 penny that's in excellent or mint condition can fetch much more than one that has been heavily circulated over the years. Many of the 1945 pennies you come across will show signs of wear from being in circulation for decades. Scratches, discoloration, or faded details can all reduce a coin's value. But if you're lucky enough to find a 1945 penny that has been kept in near-perfect condition, you're already ahead of the game. These coins, with sharp details and little to no signs of wear, are far rarer and, therefore, more valuable. Now, let's talk about the big game changer, errors. This is where things get really exciting for coin collectors. Minting errors are one of the most thrilling aspects of coin collecting because they are rare and, in some cases, can make a coin incredibly valuable. When it comes to the 1945 Lincoln penny, there are a few specific errors to look out for that can significantly increase the value of the coin. One of the most sought-after errors in the 1945 Lincoln penny is the double die variety. This occurs when the coin is struck twice, and as a result, the details of the coin, like the lettering or the date, appear doubled. If you inspect your 1945 penny closely and notice that the letters of Liberty or In God We Trust look like they've been stamped twice, you could have a double die penny on your hands. The more pronounced the doubling, the more valuable the coin. Double die errors are some of the most desirable types of minting errors, and they can fetch a high price at auctions or with collectors. Another potential error to keep an eye out for is the repunched mint mark. This happens when the mint mark, which indicates where the coin was struck, is stamped more than once, resulting in a faint second mint mark. This error is often found in pennies minted in certain years, including 1945. If your 1945 penny has a repunched mint mark, it could be a rare find that significantly increases its value. Of course, not all 1945 Lincoln pennies will have these types of errors. But that doesn't mean they aren't valuable. Even a well-preserved, error-free 1945 penny is worth more than just a cent, thanks to its age and historical significance. The 1945 penny is particularly interesting because it was minted right after World War II, a period of significant change in the United States. The fact that it has survived for decades in good condition makes it a collectible treasure for many enthusiasts. So, how can you tell if your 1945 penny is valuable? It's all about examining the details. Start by checking the overall condition of the coin. If it's in excellent shape, with no heavy signs of wear, it could be worth more than you think. Next, take a magnifying glass or loupe to look for any signs of minting errors. Carefully examine the date, the letters, and the mint mark for any signs of doubling or repunching. If you see anything unusual, you may have found a rare error coin that's worth significantly more than a regular penny. Now, I know you're probably wondering just how much these rare and error-filled 1945 pennies are worth. Well, depending on the condition and the rarity of the coin, the value can vary. A typical 1945 penny in average condition may only be worth a few cents or a couple of dollars, but if you happen to find a 1945 Lincoln penny in pristine condition or with one of those valuable minting errors, like a double die or repunched mint mark, then you could be looking at a coin worth thousands of dollars. In fact, a rare 1945 Lincoln penny has been known to sell for as much as $42,000, yes, you heard that right, $42,000 for a single penny. So, the next time you're going through your change or digging through your coin collection, be sure to check your 1945 pennies carefully. You never know when you might stumble upon a rare treasure that could change your collecting game forever. Before we wrap things up, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever found a 1945 penny in your collection? Or maybe you've stumbled upon a coin with a minting error? Share your stories with me in the comments below. I can't wait to hear about your coin hunting adventures. Today, we have something truly exciting to talk about, a coin that's been a favorite for collectors for years and holds incredible value, the United States 1-cent Lincoln penny from 1950. But here's the catch, this isn't just any ordinary penny. We're diving into the story behind the 1950 Lincoln penny and its mint mark, and why this seemingly small coin can be worth an absolute fortune. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll be amazed at how much this penny could fetch in the market today. The 1950 Lincoln penny, first minted in, you guessed it, 1950, was part of the ongoing series that featured President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side. But what makes this coin so special, you ask? Well, for starters, it's the fact that this penny was produced in different mint locations, each with its own distinct mint mark, which makes a huge difference in its value. The two most common varieties you'll come across are the 1950 penny with no mint mark and the 1950 penny with a D or S mint mark. However, there's a certain rarity that lies within one particular version, the 1950 penny with no mint mark at all. The 1950 penny without a mint mark was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, and although it may seem like a standard issue coin, the real magic happens when you look closer at its condition, rarity, and specific variations. While the regular 1950 pennies from that year are fairly easy to find, one with exceptional quality is a whole different story. When this coin is in pristine, uncirculated condition, it can skyrocket in value, as collectors are always hunting for such perfect specimens. Now let's talk about why condition plays such a crucial role. A coin's value is directly tied to how well it has been preserved over the years. Pennies from 1950, especially those in great shape, are increasingly harder to come by. In fact, most 1950 Lincoln pennies you'll find will have been through decades of circulation, and as a result, they'll show signs of wear, scratches, or discoloration. However, if you're lucky enough to find one that is practically flawless, with minimal to no signs of wear, that coin can be incredibly valuable. But it's not just the lack of wear and tear that increases the penny's worth. There are also certain rare errors that occur during the minting process that can make a 1950 penny worth thousands of dollars. Minting errors such as double strikes, off-center strikes, and incorrect alignment can cause a coin to stand out from the rest, making it even more sought after by collectors. These types of errors are incredibly rare, so if you stumble upon a 1950 Lincoln penny with a unique flaw, you might be looking at something that could fetch you a small fortune. Now, let's talk about the key details on the coin itself. The obverse side of the 1950 Lincoln penny features the famous image of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by artist Victor David Brenner. The design has remained largely unchanged since it was first introduced in 1909, making it one of the most recognizable coins in U.S. history. On the reverse side, you'll see a simple but elegant depiction of two wheat stalks, which has earned this penny the nickname Wheat Penny. This design was used from 1909 until 1958, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. If you happen to come across a 1950 Lincoln penny in near-perfect condition, it's likely that it could be worth much more than you would expect. But it's not just about its condition, it's also about the market. Over the years, demand for these pennies has remained strong, especially among numismatists, coin collectors who specialize in rare and historical coins. A 1950 penny with no mint mark, in exceptional quality, can be one of the rarest coins on the market today. Now, let's get to the big reveal. You've probably been wondering just how much a 1950 Lincoln penny could actually be worth. Well, if you manage to get your hands on a 1950 penny in pristine condition, or even one with a minting error, you could be looking at a price tag of up to $90,000. Yes, you heard that right. $90,000, that's right, a single penny could be worth a staggering amount of money, depending on its condition, rarity, and any unique features it may have. For those of you out there scouring through your old change or checking through your collection, it might be time to pull out those 1950 pennies and take a closer look. Who knows? You might just be sitting on a hidden treasure worth tens of thousands of dollars. So, if you're a coin enthusiast or just someone who enjoys hunting for rare finds, always keep your eyes peeled for coins like the 1950 Lincoln penny. It might just be the lucky find that makes you a small fortune. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare coins, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any future coin discoveries. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting.